Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this virtual session. Today's session will be focusing on the challenges in application packaging for the modern enterprise and the automation of package analysis with AdminStudio. So if you have any questions, feel free to put your inquiries on the chat box or the question box, and our guest speaker will answer them. Or you can also raise your hand during the session, and our guest speaker will answer your question on the spot. My name is Lisa Wong, and I represent Logon Software. Logon has been operating since 1993, primarily in Asia, with local offices in key locations and strategic channel partnerships in others. We are the specialist in application packaging and installation authoring. Our company is a partner of Flexera, Readiness, and Telex Technologies. Logon is the sole certified training partner in Asia for Install Shield, Install Anywhere, and AdminStudio. Our professional services team is based in Asia, and we offer best practices services for setup development, troubleshooting and configuration, and automation and application management. So you can contact us on our website for a course outline, training schedule, or to discuss your project requirements. Today, I am excited to have with us our senior consultant, Mr. Kiran. Kiran has over 18 years hands-on experience in consulting and training all over Asia. Today, Kiran will share a live demo on AdminStudio and discuss how to improve packaging productivity and increase application quality and reliability. So please join me in welcoming Kiran. Kiran?
We are here to discuss automating application readiness with AdminStudio. So the brief overview of the agenda is we look at what is application readiness and what is the process that we need to put in place or follow to achieve a set goal. The goal can come from a business requirement or an enterprise transformation requirement. We look at the overview of that, and we look at how AdminStudio can help us achieve this. Yes, there's one question everyone asks: what is application readiness? Application readiness basically is a process which includes a lot of effort in qualifying applications to be migrated from one platform to another platform. You can say from Windows XP to Windows 7 or Windows 7 to Windows 10 or Windows Server or whatever. So this comes from the need and requirement of the business. It could be because of an upgrade. It could be because of anything else. So these rules and these requirements vary from organization to organization. So we also need to have a process in place that can mitigate a lot of risks that can arise during any of these phases during the whole application readiness assessment process. So these are pretty time consuming and very resource intensive tasks to go through an exercise like this. So what we will do now is we'll try to put a process in place and look at what are the most time consuming phases in the process, and also look at how AdminStudio can help us mitigate them along with some automation, which can take away a lot of hard work from our end, which can save lots of money and time. So in the whole process that you see here, the first step is to identify all the applications that we have. We'll call them as an application portfolio or an application base, whatever term that suits us and convenient. We look at what is rationalization. That's where we need to spend a lot of time and energy to understand and qualify the candidates or the candidate applications that need to be migrated. There are a lot of metrics for this and a lot of parameters that are to be used. We'll put some of them in perspective. And then we test these applications for compatibility. If they are qualified or if they're capable of being deployed onto a target environment. Then we look at how to plan, and we look at how to fix and package these so that they're ready for deployment. So this is the whole process overview. And rationalization is something which takes a lot of time for us to achieve, because we need to make a lot of decisions which are based on the past investments and how have they been faring in the current environment, and what is the value they will add once they go to the new environment. Do we really need these applications, and so on and so on. So if you look at the whole outlook of the rationalization process, you start from your old applications. They could be your legacy applications which have been running for ages. They could also be a certain set of existing applications which are not so legacy but still are in use currently. Then we look at the assessment section where we talk about, or we try to see what kind of business value are they adding by using those applications to my business. And we also look at how technically are they qualified to be moved from one platform to another. For example, if I have an application running on Windows 7, it might not be suitable to run on Windows 10 unless some kind of manual intervention is put in. It could be modifying the source code of the application itself, recompiling it and repackaging it. Or it could also be just that you want to just repackage the installer itself and move on. It could be that. And then you will want to think about how do I standardize these applications so that they deploy well in my new environment? Are they modern enough to suit the new environment? I want to consolidate all the applications that I have and enable them for usage. Once we are done with this cycle, we end up with a new portfolio or application base which are ready to be handled in the new environment. It could be moving from a pure desktop experience to device-based. For example, it could be a laptop, or it could be a handheld device like a tablet, and so on and so on. It could be any of those, a new environment. So this is the overview of what rationalization is to be done. All right. So what's the big problem with rationalization? Yes, it takes a long time because of the following factors. The top 3, 4 factors we look at are increase in user demand due to rapidly changing technological innovations or versions or new releases coming in. So the application base is in constant pressure and is in a state of flux. So if you look at this task performed at a large enterprise, you could have thousands of apps, you could have 10,000s of apps or a lot of apps which are somewhere really old or somewhere in between, and some are current. So this will mean that for us, as somebody who's managing the software assets, we'll have to look at multiple inventory reports. We have to collate and consolidate the kind of applications that are in use and normalize the list of applications. These three tasks these three phases or these three kind of exercises, they can go in many ways. For example, as an organization, I might want to say all financial applications as one list. I could say all office productivity applications as one standard. So that depends on each one of us and how we want to put this together. At the end of it, the decision which I need to take an actionable decision that is an outcome of rationalization would be typically what are the apps that are really needed, what needs to be retired or not used again, they're done with it, and what applications needs to be replaced. So for example, you might ask, what is the difference? Okay, I have 10,000 applications and I figure out that I really don't need 4,000 applications. I can straight away eliminate them, which means in my total transformation or movement of platform 1 to platform 2, I've lost 4,000 apps which are no longer needed at all. That saves time and effort in the migration. And what needs to be retired? Okay, these are apps which cannot go any further beyond this. So they will not be used again. And what needs to be replaced? For example, if I'm having a version 10 of Microsoft Office and today we have to move on to Microsoft 2016 version of Office, that can be a call that can be taken. So these are the key questions that we need to get answers for before doing any transformation. And that's what rationalization allows us to do. So if you look at it, maximum time spent is here. Long down process, yes. By the time you get the inventory and make these calls, it's going to take a really, really long time. So the bigger the application base, the longer the time takes. At the end of it, the outcome would be to optimize the total number of applications that need to be supported in the organization or enterprise. That's a good point to start with. Then, out of these qualified applications, we can also find out how many of the applications are actually compatible with the target and target environment, and if not, what are the issues that can arise with it? Is it worth investing in modernizing these applications to support the new environment if it is going to add value to my business? Are my applications duplicated? This means I have Office 2008, 2010, 2016, 2012. I can just standardize as one version for everyone. Again, that's very need based, but it's better to always clean out old things and be in a more manageable space. And if there are any outdated apps, are they up to the latest version? Okay. Upgrading to the latest version, what is the cost implication involved in that? Is it cheaper to repackage an existing application and deploy it, or is it more economical to upgrade them to the latest version? Like this, we can have as many questions as it needs when it comes to this entire process of rationalization. These can range from your business needs till your operating environment. For example, if you're moving from Windows 7 to Windows 10 or Windows 2012 server to 2016 server, these questions can come endlessly. So once the rationalization is done and we know, okay, these are the applications which I'm going to move on to the next level and I need enough uh, applications to support my business. Yes, they're all adding value to my daily business. At this point of time, I need to really be sure if the applications are compatible with the new environment, right? So if we look at this compatibility testing itself, let's look at the four top issues that we see. If I take an operating system level, if I take Windows, I have a 32-bit system, I have a 64-bit system, out of which there can be servers, there can be workstations, there can be many combinations as much as possible. You can have Service Pack 1, you can have Service Pack 2. Is my application compatible with this operating system? And so on and so on. Then, what if there are a set of web apps? If these web apps are existing, on what browsers do they run? Are they compatible with the allowed web browsers in my organization? For example, some companies might not want Chrome, some companies might not want Safari, and whatever. Or it can be a hybrid environment where people use their own types of browsers. For example, I like using Opera and Safari. So maybe a lot of applications will not work on these browsers. So I'll have to check for compatibility for web applications. Are they working with the browsers and so on? And are these applications ready to be deployed in a virtualized environment? I mean Hyper-V, sorry, App-V or Citrix and so on and so on. When, let's say I've answered these questions, okay, how well are they built? What is the quality metrics of this? Are the best practices being followed in terms of application management or application deployment and so on and so on? Now, if you take a simple set of 1000 applications, we know this is going to be a huge task to answer all these questions on a per application basis. Looking at the permutations and combinations that can come up with, it's going to be a very daunting, laborious, time-consuming task, which is both resource intensive in terms of manpower and time, which can delay a lot of plans in terms of rolling out. So here's where we would like to use application uh, automation for conversion and testing. So it is better to be in a situation where you know and then act rather than act and then know. So just to tell you a little bit about when you have a large set of applications which are huge and you need to support a huge base of them, this is just a depictory. I mean, this is just a graph which shows you over the time that's taken to perform this compatibility tests for operating system and for virtualization and browser, and to fix applications that can be deployed with minor fixes and so on. These are just numbers which I have put in with my own personal experiences. So there's some basic data collected. So on a manual mechanism, on a manual mode, it takes so much more time, while automation cuts it down to some percentage. So this how this is what the chart is trying to tell you. Basically, I can make out straight away with the graphs and information or whatever data I have, how ready am I or how far am I from the actual deployment happening. So to cut down the manual intense task and save time, which means money essentially, we would like to use automation. At the end of this exercise of analyzing, qualifying the packages, there could be a lot of in-between issues which say, okay, this application is good to go your environment, provided you have to make these changes to the application. You have to change something in this product which will make it compatible with the new version. So those are the things we call them as fixes or application fixes. We call them as fixed packages. So a fixed package step would identify the problem, try and remediate automatically. Once it is remediated, you can reassess it and figure out if it will actually work or there's something else that needs to be addressed. Then you can auto fix it most of the times, but there are exceptions to this auto fixing also, because if it is a deprecated API or a very outdated um, technology that is being used, it might be compatible with a few of the tests that you're performing, and it could fail in certain environments. So that does not mean the application is totally useless, but this will require some action on our end. For example, maybe go back to the development team and tell them this API is outdated. Could you please update it for the latest version and give a new copy of this? So that is one. I mean, that is one of the I would say side effect of auto fixing. So this will ensure that your applications are ship shape, they're good to sail. And what about having information about all the applications that are not fixable than a list of applications that are automatically fixed? Either ways, it's useful information to us. So this is exactly what happens here. Now, what AdminStudio allows us to do, okay, it'll allow you to create a catalog of all the applications that I have in my application portfolio, test each one of them, and tell you how ready are they to be converted or transformed into the target platform. There are a lot of processes which are built into AdminStudio. We'll go through a demo with that in a little bit. And I'll show you how the tests are done and how to read the reports and what are the information that it generates as a part of this exercise. So that is what we are. At this point, I would like to know if any of you have any questions to ask. If you can please raise your hand or type in your question. I'll be very happy to answer them, or I can go on to the demo. All right, I'll move on to the demo then. Yes, here is the AdminStudio interface, which I was just we were talking about all along. In my demo purpose, I have three applications. One is the .NET Framework and the Microsoft Edge browser and the SQL Server Management Studio. So here I see a dashboard which tells me what are the applications and what are the packages that are there, are they virtualizable or not. For me to find out, I will move on to the first step would be to import a package. So you can give all your import mechanisms. You can choose a whole lot of files from here. It can be executables, it can be whatever packages that you have that need to be deployed. Once that is done, you can go to the Analyze tab. Yep, pardon me, it's a little slow. So I can choose any of the sources, go ahead next, and pick up any kind of supported packages that AdminStudio supports. You have Apple Images, then you have Apple installer packages for iOS, Windows, and a whole lot of bunch of files here. So you can import your applications, which I've already done at this point. So I have these three. Then the next step would be to analyze each of these packages. So in the analysis, I can select what kind of tests I need to run, or how am I going to analyze them. There you go. So in my host of applications, or let's say in my um, application portfolio, it is telling me compatibility straight away. How many of them are compatible? How many are not compatible? What are the applications that need Java runtime? How many of them can be modernized to MSIX? And so on and so on. You have the entire thing. So all these are drill down reports. So if you look at the warnings which are there already. Okay, so this part, the 2 out of 3 are ready, out of which one can be done, but with a warning. So for me to do this compatibility testing, which is a very long time, I can select the test that needs to be executed based on my requirement. I can check for application conflict. So when I say that when I'm going to install this application, what is this going to break? Or is it going to cause anything to break, or will it just work? I can look at a whole set of options and select my operating systems as applicable. So right now we do not have any of these, so I'll just get rid of them for now. And your browser compatibility, IE and Microsoft Edge and whatever. And I don't need Apple best practices. I'm fine with it. Okay, there you go. Then I will simply execute the tests. So now each package is being scrutinized with whatever nested installers or anything that is there in the package is simply shown out, and then you see how ready are they with the categories of tests that we have done. So typically a package like this would take a complete testing by a human being when it's done manually, at least I would say 2 days or 3 days per package. This really does it. This saves a lot of time and effort. So while this is going on, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them. I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, it's done. It's still in process. So Now, doing this exercise for thousands of packages is going to be as you can see, a very, very difficult task, and the amount of manpower needed would be very high and pretty expensive too. It's taking quite some time. I'll just stop it and go to the next one, so we can see the kind of report it generates. So once we have a process in place, you know that each package that has to be tested, we have a certain set of steps to be performed that can be automated too. So at each step, you can specify what action has to be taken and what has to be done, how to qualify the package, and if they qualify, what am I supposed to do? Should I convert them automatically to the target format that we see on top? These are the various categories of tests that we have. We can check for desktop operating system compatibility and MSIX. Then for mobile platforms, that is iOS, Android, and Windows Phone operating system. We can look at all these categories of browser compatibility and how compatible are the applications with virtualization. And let's say they pass all of this, how well do they qualify in the best practices that are required, and virtualization specific to app V, app V5, conflicts and so on. Then how well are they going to be deployable, any dependencies that you might need for the applications within your base. Okay, let's look at this Windows 10 compatibility. It says there's a warning. When I click the warning, it will take me exactly and tell me what it is. Okay, there's supposed to be an error or a warning. Yes. So these kinds of things which are difficult to find out, even with manual testing, they're extracted by the AdminStudio. And well, depending on what it is, we can take a call if it's safe or not safe based on our environment. And similarly, it says none of the applications are virtualization compatible. So let's see what is the reason for that. It's not tested for AppV, very good. It's tested for AppV version 5. CNAP, it's not tested because we didn't select it. Okay, so let's see what's the reason for app 5 and what is the warning it's giving us. Yes. It says there is no shortcut for Microsoft Edge, so this cannot be ready to be deployed on app v5. So the simplest mechanism would be to go ahead and create a shortcut in the package and by using repackaging. So we can also look at installer best practices. Yep, so something is missing here, so let's see what it is. 7 warnings. Says this is probably a string overflow. Okay, so this cannot be auto fixed because this needs application packaging or a repackaging professional to fix this. Okay, so these are the kind of things you can have when you work with AdminStudio, where analysis is done automatically, multiple category reports, and drill down to the root cause for the particular package in question. And the best part I really like about is the application readiness dashboard. It gives you a bird's eye view of everything that you want to know over mobile, various categories of your environment in your target. So from here, you can make out how many, for example, in this case, I know 67% are legacy applications. So I can take a call as to do I really need to modernize them or do I just go out and buy the latest version or is there anything else that I can do to fix them? So these are the kind of calls which will allow you to optimize money and the effort needed also. So more informed in your decisions and investments. So let's look at automation per se. Yeah, you can import applications list. Maybe it can be a CSV or wherever. So once they are imported, it will give you each product, who's the vendor, what is the version that's available, and which version has been cataloged, like in your application catalog we saw here, the list of applications. Then what is the current latest version available? Is it based on a subscription and source and so on and so on and so on. So basically the package, this we will call it as a package feed module. The package feed module allows you to ensure that all the third-party vendors who are supplying applications to you in terms of support products or anything. Um, let's say I'm using APIs from some web service from a third party. How secure are these? What are the risks they come with? So that's an analysis that can be continuously automated, where you go ahead and say, okay, these are my applications that are coming from third party, risk assessment, risk analysis, and all these tests are performed on the third party applications also, so that you can be sure that your applications in your catalog or applications in your organizations that have dependencies on third party packages, that they are also security tested and they qualify to be in your environment safely. So that's what this is uh, package feed module is all about. But in a nutshell, if you want to convert your applications in an automatic fashion, what I showed you was a simple way of using the uh, AdminStudio interface. So we have another utility that comes with AdminStudio that is called as automatic application converter. This tool will let you again import packages and convert them to one of the virtualized formats. Yep. You can either create a new project. So let's go one step at a time and get it done. Next. CS9. Yep, I can pick up the applications. Let's say I want to convert this. I want to convert this. Just take H2. Next. So it'll straight away tell you what are the issues with that package. Is it ready or not? So let's go ahead and see what it does. Now it'll ask you to connect to one of the virtualization environment. Here, assuming that you have a Hyper-V server running or a VMware server running, it would connect to that, package your applications, and convert them in one shot. Right? So that's what this does. So you have the options of adding a virtual machine or straight away work with packages. So you could just add packages here again. So when you go into each of the package, it will tell you what is the action that you need to take for it to be virtualized. So this cannot be virtualized straight away because it requires repackaging. And on a per package basis, it will tell you what is it that is advised and what is not. So this way you can automatically convert them. And once we say convert, it will go ahead and simply convert it. Why if we, I mean, once we add a virtual machine here and select the packages, they're automatically converted. This whole process can be automated. We can have a software repository where we have all the applications and we set a rule saying that, okay, this package has to qualify under these parameters. And once it is qualified, go ahead and straight away convert it. That's what it does. So you have various targets. For example, you want to use, for example, in this case, if I want to convert all my packages into MSIX format, that whole process can be automated by using these tools. So that's about it in terms of automated application conversion. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll be glad to answer. That's about it.